podcast bringing you a new episode of Gravity Blues, the podcast where myself and my co-host Ren explore our Earth and extraterrestrial concerns and interests. If you didn't notice, we missed last week. We were planning on doing a pod together down in Columbus this past Saturday after the Sonic Temple Festival, but yeah, that was a little too ambitious.
It's
for
a
us.
long day in the sun, and then we were both worn out that next morning.
Yep.
But you had the energy to go back. So talk about the rest of the festival and how was that Saturday?
Yeah, it was good. Saturday was cool. The main headliner was Linkin Park, and I had already seen them before with their original lineup before their lead singer passed away, and then now they have a new lead singer who's actually a girl, so it's kind of a different kind of setup. But I'll have to say, she was actually really. I was a little skeptical going into it because it's like big shoes to fill, but she was pretty good, filling that role. So I have to give her props.
Is it kind of like more interesting in terms of like it's almost a new sound, right? Because of that new singer.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not like seeing them again. It's like a whole new kind of show.
Yeah, because like they were playing of course they're playing the old stuff, and then they have a new album that they put out last year. And the old stuff, sounded good, but someone in the I was talking with someone on Sunday, and they were saying, yeah, if you go back, if you took any video and you go back and you listen to it, you can tell that they had like some of those older songs in a lower octave because the range that Chester, their old lead singer, had was just like very. There's not a lot of people that can get into that range in terms of like, screaming and like, being, all the way up top. So they have to keep it down. But I still think she sounded really good and filled those, spots well. But yeah, the new stuff is definitely a little bit, different, but it still feels like Linkin Park, but it doesn't really compare to the old stuff. That's hard to do, but it sounded good. And then I didn't stay for their whole set because, there was also one weird, I don't know if it's weird. I think they do this at a bunch of other festivals, but they also have other like kind of mini headliners going on during the main headliner on like some of the different, like on the second stage. They have four stages total. So on that second stage, like about an hour after Linkin Park started, 3-6 Mafia, who's like my favorite rap group ever, which is very interesting, group to have come into this like rock and metal show, but they do that sometimes. They like Snoop Dogg and other rap artists come through, and that was a really fun time. I was happy I could see them. But yeah, when I saw Linkin Park, they were good. Bunch of other good bands on Saturday. Like Jimmy Eat World and Bullet for My Valentine. They were really good. But I'd have to say Sunday may have been my favorite day, I think, just in terms of all the bands I saw. The headliner on Sunday was Metallica, and it got to a point we were on the floor, and at the end of the night, I was 3 rows of people from the front.
Oh, nice.
Like, so I was close, but there were so many crowd surfers. I probably like helped over 100 people crowd surf. Wow. So I was sore from that, and it was very claustrophobic because just like everyone's like packed like sardines. But yeah, it was a great show though. With all that going on,
it was so cool when so they were headliners on Friday night too, and I didn't expect them to just go like the guitarist was just like, hey, we were just jamming earlier to the bass player. And then the two of them just got out in the front and they just like jammed for 2 minutes and like with nothing else going on. And I was like, this is crazy. They're just like
they had a funny name for their jam. I can't remember it though.
It was Devil's Lettuce.
Devil's Lettuce. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. I don't think they did. I can't remember. I don't think they did one on Sunday, like a little jam like that. But they played. Saturday or Friday when we saw them, they played like a good mix of their old stuff and then, or like their hits and stuff like that. They did pretty much did the same on Sunday, if not more like hits. So I was like happy to be able to see some of that too, up close and personal. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, and then a lot of the other bands that day were pretty awesome. The side stages were going crazy. There were like there was like a 3-band period where I was moshing for all of them. And the one band that was local, sang with Sugar Bog. They did like a wall of death.
Yeah,
Pretty much
is there another
Mhm.
Columbus band that was there?
Yeah, 200 Stab. Or wait, they're not Columbus. They're Cleveland.
Okay.
But the other Columbus band was Beartooth. That's
Beartooth,
maybe
right.
who you saw.
Right.
Yeah, because on Sunday, Alice in Chains was supposed to play,
Right.
but they had to like cancel the rest of their like festival appearances and their tour, I think. So they had to get someone to fill in, and Beartooth is probably the biggest band from the Columbus area right now in terms of popularity.
In
I'm trying to
metal.
think.
In metal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess what other bands?
Well, there's 21 Pilots, and then
Oh yeah, I always forget they're from Columbus. Yeah, we'll say like in the rock and metal
and I'd say
sphere
Camp.
for them.
I'd say Camp too.
Yeah, Camp. Yeah, Camp's good. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say like in rock and metal, they're like probably the most popular. I don't really listen to them, but I'll say this: I've seen them a few times now, and their shows are awesome.
Beartooth,
They're
yeah.
really the high energy, and even if you don't know the songs, pretty easy to sing along to. So lots of pyrotechnics too, lots of fire. So
That's exciting. Yeah.
that's always fun.
It's awesome
But
that they
yeah,
were
were
like,
good.
yeah, we'll fill in,
Yeah, they just like flew in like last second. I'm just like, that's some dedication right there. So,
Yeah, that's sweet.
but yeah, I guess the last time they performed though at that show, they like supposedly got banned because their whole band started like crowd surfing like at the end of the show, and like the crew there like flipped out and like trying to get them like banned from ever coming back. But I guess that didn't last very long.
Needs must.
Yeah, right.
So there you
So
go.
yeah, it was a good time though. I'm still sore and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't plan on doing anything like that for probably till next year. So
Yeah.
I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, I feel you. My skin is obviously still healing, so we're dealing with that. But making
Yeah.
progress. Um,
Mhm.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great update on the music. Obviously, I
Mhm.
think everyone should go to that festival next year. It's fun. Although
Yeah.
the dispatch has been roasting the road situation like all week, and
Oh
they're
yeah,
pissed.
yeah. I would recommend if you are able to not like park there and just like either Uber to there or like walk in there. Do that. The
Yeah.
parking situation is going to be and like getting in there is going to be awful every year. It's never going to change. It's just the festival's getting larger, and it's just not the best. I don't know, infrastructure to
Yeah.
handle that.
Well, and
So
it's also just like the dispatch had a whole thing because it was, I think it was Rob Zombie, like was
yeah.
running late, and
Mhm.
they had to get a police escort to get the band there in time because the traffic was so
That's
bad.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and they were dispatched like that's embarrassing. And it's like, oh yeah, well, but it's also like any festival. It's not also Columbus, and this might be how it is everywhere, but that historic Crew Stadium's not in the best spot to host stuff for traffic wise, but they've also never figured out how to do the Buckeye games well either. Like those are always
Yeah.
awful, right? So it's just
Yep.
part of how it is, and live in a city.
Yep.
So let's jump though, because
Sure.
let's jump to TV movies. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you put something on there for TV. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I just started the latest season of The Last of Us season 2. I think I'm on episode 3 or
Mm-hmm.
4 now, and I won't give any spoilers, but I don't know. I there's like some things. I think it's always hard, like trying to convert a video game into like a
Mm-hmm.
show or a movie, just like with the pacing and everything. And I think that's the main thing is like and I felt like the first season, the pacing, they were able to, do it pretty well. But I don't know. I feel like some of the transitions from, they're holed up in this, fortress, pretty much this like town in Wyoming to, prevent from, zombies getting in and stuff like that. And there's just like, zombies like eventually attack the town. And it's just like, there's some things where it's just like, all right, I feel like you could have let this marinate a little bit more before this like huge like thing happens. But I don't think it's that bad. I think it's I'm interested to see where it builds though, because there's still a lot of season left. But yeah, I still recommend, I think, checking it out. And like I'm watching it with my girlfriend, and I'm not sure, had you ever played the Last of Us games
No,
before?
well, I haven't seen the show either. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And then yeah, do you know anything about the games,
I
or
know
is it just
it's
kind of
Naughty Dog and zombies,
yeah,
and
yep.
yeah, I do love Lawrence. I think it's Lawrence Fishburne. No, uh, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the dude's name. Well, there's a dude, an actor in it that voiced a character in the game who's also in the show, and that is like the
Mm.
coolest. I don't know. It's like he's the same
Oh,
character. It's
huh.
not Lawrence
I
Fishburne.
didn't.
It's the guy from American Fiction. Uh,
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
yeah, he's in James Bond
Yeah,
in one of them. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yep, yeah. But so there's one big thing that's like notorious about the second game that happens very early on in the game, and it's just like, what the, like,
yeah.
it's like a main character, and it's like, what the hell, and I'm already expecting this to happen, so it's
Mhm.
like, I guess it doesn't hit me as hard when it does happen because I
Yeah.
know it's happening. So that's one thing that kind of, is, I wish I was going into it more blind, because then I maybe be, feeling a little bit like, all right, I gotta binge the rest of the episodes. I got to see where this goes. But since I know where it goes, I guess it's like kind of like that if you like with a book turned into a show or a movie. But
Yeah,
you
sometimes
know,
if they decide to stick to it, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but it seems like they're sticking to
Well, yeah, that's
most of the
I
stuff.
think though, and I haven't played too much of like Uncharted, but I've seen the Uncharted movie,
Hmm.
and they didn't really stick to it, but it's a little bit. But those games, the Naughty Dog games, are pretty like cinematic anyway.
Yes.
So it's almost like it's very story driven and like beats are there and it's like almost its own movie except it's a video game,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like it's easy to turn that kind of game into something as opposed to like we saw last year we had Fallout, right? Which was a good show, but it's like they
Hmm.
didn't follow the story of the games at all. It's they made up their own
Yeah.
thing within that, world. So
Hmm.
it's cool.
Yeah, and like there's something like in those games too. It's like pretty much the same. Like if you play through it every time, it's the same story. There's like not really a lot of like like a decision like. I guess with the second one there is some of that, but like you were saying though, like you get these like cinematic cutscenes in the game, so it's like there really isn't too much of a. Uh, I feel like it's easy to step from one to the other, but yeah, I guess I'll keep you guys all updated. I'm hoping to finish the season soon, so maybe by next pod I'll have a better feeling of what I'm thinking for season two compared to
Yeah.
season one, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do need to watch it at some point. And zombie stuff never really like catches me, and then like, but whatever. But I want to throw out there because I just the last few days I just watched the Ocean's 11 trilogy.
oh yeah.
They're all on Netflix, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. So I like got down and
Mhm.
watched all three of them. Yeah, pretty freaking good. I mean, newsflash, right? But
I still haven't watched. I watched 11 and 13. I still haven't watched 12 though. I have to watch 12. I
okay.
don't.
Um,
I think it's because I've heard it's the weaker of the trilogy. That's
See,
just what I've
I
heard.
think it's 11, 12, 13. I didn't 13 was fine to me.
Okay.
13 kind of goes over the top where like they're all kind of over
Mm.
the top, but 13 especially it's like okay, we're doing this now. Like the
Yeah,
end is the
11's the best
helicopter
though.
pull and stuff. Yeah, the 11 feels
Yeah.
very like not ground to earth, but it's like most realistic in
Yeah.
some ways. But yeah, it's really good. Obviously, like cast is crazy. All the movies, the cast is nuts, and it's like, oh, we're adding in this legendary actor for this movie. Like the third one has Pacino, right? I think,
Hmm.
and you're like,
He's like the bad guy.
yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
all of them have like legendary actor or villain as and they like
Mhm.
they stick around all the characters, which is fun.
Right. And we're stealing from casinos. Like that's like the best thing ever, you
Well,
know? Like
in the
they steal our money.
in 11 and 13, right? But in
Yeah.
12,
Yeah,
the
12, I don't even know what 12's about, honestly. Don't
yeah
they go to Europe or something? Don't
yeah
they go overseas?
they're in Paris and in
Mm.
London or in I think Rome actually. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Obviously like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like unbeatable duo, And
Mhm.
there's like all there's fantastic bits where one of them will be like, you think, and then I'm like, yes, you think, oh yes, and it's like that's great. I love that dynamic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they have great chemistry.
yeah,
Great chemistry.
great chemistry, great movies.
Well, you're missing. I haven't watched it. Are you gonna watch the one with when it's all the
Yeah,
female
the women.
the actresses?
So the cast for that is also stacked. Like
Yeah, it
if you go
is.
look, you're
It
like
is.
that's legend. All these like really top quality actresses. Um, and I think the only cast member that I saw that was like in that list is the guy that plays the Grease Man, like the Chinese guy.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah. He's in that
I
one.
think he's in that based on the
Oh,
cast
that's
thing I
fun.
saw, which is cool.
Huh.
But I was like, why didn't they bring back any of the other people? Because I think
Right.
she's
Well,
supposed to
they.
be Danny's daughter, like the main lady.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I actually might have to go watch it, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, just
Uh,
wanted to throw out there. Great, they're on Netflix and they're a good little trilogy. Um, we're gonna keep this one pretty short today, if that's okay with
yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's cool with me.
Talk to me real quick before we go to space. I want to hear about how the Cavs
Sure.
are doing.
Oh, well, they are not doing anything anymore because they
Oh,
got bounced out of the playoffs.
they're hanging out in the Caribbean,
Yeah, they're going to
down to
Cancun. Just
Cancun.
a few weeks after they sent the Miami Heat to Cancun, they're going to be joining up with Tyler
See,
Hero.
no, but if you're the Miami Heat,
He's with Pina
you're probably not
Coladas.
going to Cancun because you have Cancun at home. You're going.
Yeah, and go down to the Keys. Just a little bit.
Yeah. So they're
Try to.
Miami. Those guys are going up to like Aspen or something. They got to change
Yeah,
the scenery.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they might want to get a different climate. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, all I have to say about the Cavs is they're pretty soft. It's 3 straight years of them getting going up against not necessarily a better opponent, but a tougher opponent
Hmm.
and one that's more physical, and they just mentally can't handle it. Whether that's whether that's just maybe it's the whole roster, maybe it's just a few guys. I don't know. I guess we'll see what they do in the off season, but for or at least a season where you had the best Eastern Conference record, and then you go into the playoffs, and then your biggest competition, the Celtics, who are
Yeah,
also
they just
they're on the
lost their
verge
star,
of
right?
losing. Yeah, he's out for the rest of the playoffs and probably next year too,
Wow.
with a torn Achilles, Jason Tatum. But they were your biggest threat, and they look like they're not going to be in the playoffs anymore. So this was your best chance to at least make the finals. Who knows if they would have won or not, but this was your best chance. At least so far this was your best chance, and you blew it because you're soft, and they had some injuries. You can't deny that, but even so, you're still a lot more talented than Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
And
I think that's pretty sad,
yeah,
to go out, especially like a second round after a season they had, which they started the season with like 17 wins,
15.
15.
15, yeah, went 15-0.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
that's
they had three separate 15-game win streaks.
and obviously you'd rather pick that up at the end of the year than at the beginning,
Right.
but still, that's it sounds like they were doing it pretty consistently and they were balling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty disappointing to see them go out to like a a bad team, not a bad team, but
They're
it's
not, yeah, but yeah, like it's a team that's like I'm not. They're good, but they're not.
they're not
They
championship.
have. They're not championship level, and
Yeah.
maybe they will make it after this next. Because they're going up against the. Well, they'll most likely be going up against the New York Knicks. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I don't know. It's just and for it to be a series where you don't even make it like competitive, you only won one game and the other team wins four games. Like,
Didn't they lose a
it,
couple of them by like 1 point though?
yeah. Oh, don't. Yeah. The second game, so they're down 1-0 in the second game, and
Ugh.
they're up by 7 points with less than a minute left. 7 points.
So they threw it
I think
away.
they had like a 98% chance to win or something. And yeah,
Yeah.
they fumbled it. And yeah, ever since that game, it was, yeah, that killed them. That game killed them. So yeah, very rough. But yeah, moving on to the Cleveland Guardians, they're playing pretty good right now. And then the Browns,
Well, talk about
all their stuff.
ACL injuries.
Yeah.
I think it's Joke, right? He's not going to play this year. You see that?
Who isn't?
What's his name? Ouze or the one dude, the lineman, the defensive guy.
Oh, JOK.
JOK, right? Joke, is
Yeah,
that not Joke?
yeah. I don't call him
Okay,
joke.
okay,
I never heard him joke. But
okay.
yeah, JOK. Yeah, for the Browns. I kind of saw it a little bit. This news coming just when they like drafted that like linebacker in the second
Still,
round.
it's tough to like
Yeah,
for him to miss the whole year. That is,
he might miss some of next year
oh
too.
my goodness.
Is like they were worried he wouldn't be able to like walk again after that injury or something. So like I just want him. That's the first thing is making sure they can like live up a healthy life like outside of football.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
seems like
no,
he is
it's.
okay.
I mean, that's crazy, right? Because
Hmm.
obviously, like that's terrible. But then at the same time, you got the guy in Detroit, from Michigan. What's his name? Aiden Hutchinson,
Oh, Aiden Hutchinson.
and he
Yeah.
broke his leg, and he's gonna potentially come back this year. And it's like that's nuts. I mean, I like the injuries like are not transferable. Some guys just heal better than others, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think his is too. It's like a neck spinal thing.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
anything with that, I feel like you got to be a little more cautious, or at least with football, you got to be a little more cautious. But yeah, I guess we'll see if yeah, because even breaking a leg, that's a serious thing,
Yeah,
man. I don't know. That's you're not guaranteed to come back fully, the way you were before you did that. So
yeah,
for a big lineman too, or defensive lineman, that's a lot of weight, on that hurt leg. So,
yep.
but
That's yeah. It's crazy.
yeah.
So the sports are going well. Oh, I'll throw out there
Mhm.
other Ohio sports news. The Crew and the Ohio soccer team down south are
Mhm.
they're the two top teams in the East in the MLS, which is pretty cool. And they play this weekend,
Oh yeah,
and the
hell
derby
yeah.
is called the Hell is Real. So they're going to be up here
Mm.
in Columbus, which is pretty sweet. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty sweet. I'll throw out though one like thing that kind of makes me, I don't know, like it's like cool for Cincinnati is so the Crew. They're playing at the Crew first this year, and then they're going to play Cincinnati later.
Mhm.
So every year, whichever team hosts the first game sets the ticket prices that the other team will charge for their game too.
Ooh.
And so they do
Hmm.
reciprocal, right? For
That's
fans.
cool.
Yeah, but so Crew going first. Last year was $75 ticket. This year it's going up to 90, and this is like
Mm.
from the tickets, not resale, right? Well, Cincinnati, the fans complained because they're like, well, we don't want to pay 90 because why is it more expensive than last year? Well, Cincinnati said for our home game against the Crew, we'll give you guys a $25 voucher, so it'll actually be less than it was last year. So we're making it cheaper, which like that's sweet. I love that
Yeah.
as an organization. Like that's
Is that like a food voucher kind of thing,
no,
or
no,
is that
no,
just
for the
like off the
tickets.
ticket?
For the
Oh,
tickets, yeah,
okay.
they're gonna
Oh,
cut the
that's
price
really
on them.
nice.
Yeah, they're gonna
Oh,
like
sweet.
pay the whatever fee.
Huh.
It's like okay, that's Awesome
That's
for
sick.
that front office. The Haslams would never do that.
No,
But,
nah.
but you know,
They're too busy paying people that are terrible, in other places.
yeah.
Not the crew, but other places.
Well, so yeah, so that was pretty classic.
Mhm.
But you know,
Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to. I'll have to tune into that. I love the name of the derby. The
the hell is
hell is
real.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Also, go check out the special edition jerseys they made for this week because both
Okay.
teams have like really cool designs for it.
Hmm.
Where like the crew, it's like their home jersey, but their whole thing this year is like they're leaning into being scary. Like they've gone into like a horror themed because they're like goosebumps,
The goosebumps,
right?
right? Yeah,
And
yeah,
so their Hell is Real jerseys, the number areas that are usually like white, they have like devils and stuff on them. It's like on fire and like it's pretty sweet. And I was like,
yeah,
this is rocking. And I think
yeah.
the
We're cooking.
since he did a similar thing, but they just have like their lion dude on there, which is like whatever.
Nah,
We got devils.
not as cool. Yeah, we got goose. We got R.L. Stein.
Yeah, R.L. Stein.
Come on,
Yeah.
the legend.
All right. With that, let's get on our rocket ship and go out of space and
Yeah,
talk about what's going on outside of the atmosphere.
yeah. We're on the moon today. I had this little section labeled the Wolf of Moon Street, and I've been seeing this stuff about China and the U.S. and China has because they were up there up on the moon and they were getting like samples
Mm-hmm.
and they're like trying to share them with other countries and other partners, but there's an amendment called the Wolf Amendment. I'm assuming this is a United States amendment
Okay.
that prevents like cooperation between the U.S. and China in any kind of like space research. So NASA is just like they're not able to get their hands on any of this, this the moon samples, which I'm assuming have like ice and things they want to
Yeah.
test with to because you could potentially turn that stuff into like rocket propellant, so they
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to like probably look more into that to see if or just do more testing on ground. So yeah, I just think it's funny that it's like the politics don't even like and these agreements don't end once you go to space. It's kind of frustrating to me because yeah, I get it why you have to have it on why on earth to some extent. Some things are a little crazy, but yeah, to not even be able to share things,
Yeah. It's
just like
weird
something that doesn't
that
seem as crazy.
it's
Yeah.
like they want to share with us and we have an agreement that says we can't accept it. It's like I can
Yeah.
see if it was the other way there and they were like, "Well, we don't want to share with you our research." It's like, "Okay, but if they want to give it to us, why are we no, we can't do that." It's like that
Hmm.
seems a little bizarre.
Yeah. Because you would think they would want to cooperate together because they're the two leading NASA and China's like space program are the two leading kind of programs in like space exploration and
Yeah,
just
have they
anything
just
space
totally
related.
passed the Russia stuff?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have because yeah, they've been coming up to like they're up to the moon like we probably should have already been up there, but China's up there because I think we're the original plan was for us to our original schedule was for the Artemis mission
Mm-hmm.
to have a base up there. I'm pretty sure it was by 2025, so I think it should have been up there by now or close to being up there. Which that that whole thing's probably not even happening anymore with all the cuts they're making to like space science. They just like pretty much cut that in half. The government did so. yeah, I think a lot of these things related to the moon at least are probably going to be getting cut, and they're
Yeah.
like prioritizing a focus on Mars, which I don't know. It doesn't interest me too much. We've discussed it in the past, but yeah, it seems like they're trying to whatever money they have, and trying to go to a different like planet or moon is now more focused on Mars. But I don't know. I guess the plan was to use the moon as like a stepping stone
Mm-hmm.
to Mars. So I guess they just want to skip that and just just see what happens. I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna do that, but that's I guess not up for me to decide.
Yeah, it's pretty, sad. I just was reading a book called Abundance. I think it's by Ezra Klein. Um, it came out I think this year, but it's talking about the history of solar panels, and about like how because of our American system, right, where we like our politics go back and forth in terms of like the leadership, since like the 60s, solar panels have gone like boom, bust. And basically,
Mhm.
in China has adopted it and like has like put money into that and tried to really develop their science industry or their solar panel industry, and it's been pretty consistent. And so now they are like ahead of us in that research and in development. And we, because we keep flip flopping on it, like
Mhm.
literally Jimmy Carter put solar panels on the roof, and then Nixon got in there and tore them down, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the order was, Reagan maybe, I don't know.
Yep.
But anyway, but it's like that is classic, right? Classic
Hmm.
U.S. is like we could be the best, but we hold ourselves back because we were just wish
Yeah.
washy. But
Yeah. We just yeah, and it's like you could achieve that even with a two-party system.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be like just one party. To be able to achieve these things. But I think we're just so set against you know being different.
yep,
In these parties, and you don't can't really compromise at all. And I think that's what we're lacking. And then what we're lacking with China too, and at least in terms of the space.
yeah.
You know,
Well, exactly.
space
It's like they're
program.
able to go, here's our plan, we're going to do it. And because their political system allows them to have no challenge, it's like, well, it's going to happen because they're just going to do
Yeah.
it, right? And so it's like, that is, interesting that is an outcome of that. But in
Hmm.
science in general, which is pretty, you know, I don't really like the idea that they're building their base up there, or potentially, right? And we're behind ours, but that's where it goes, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sad stuff, but I
Yeah.
like that. I like the
Yeah.
the
The,
Wolf of the
the
Moon.
Wolf, yeah, the Wolf Amendment. So
Yeah,
we can think that for this outcome. So
sell me this rock,
happy times.
right?
Yeah, it's like no sample for you, like
Oh
the
my god!
Nazi.
Oh my
No,
god!
sample Nazi. No sample for you.
Oh my gosh! Love it.
Yeah,
All right, let's wrap up there. We'll keep it nice and
sure.
short today. We'll be back with with
Yeah, next
with
week.
more our longer stuff in the
Yes.
future. But yeah, everyone stay healthy and
Mhm.
cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone.